my name is Wonmin. It's pronounced like 1 minute. I'm the game developer for Love, Career, and Magic. It's a 2 to 6 player collaborative storytelling game where you play as one of 25 mythological creatures in a reality TV show. And all of these mythological creatures have modern day jobs, just like us humans do. For example, we have here a gnome. He's a comedian. We have a sentient armor set named Dami. We have an ogre. He's a bouncer at a club. So all sorts of wacky creatures and job combinations. And you're playing these characters inside this fictional reality TV show where the only thing that matters is your season's ratings or points. And how you earn points is by completing these direction cards. And these are directions from the producers of the show who are trying to instill a little chaos into the narrative, right? In an effort to boost.
Are you saying that reality shows?
It's not real. Or is it? I don't know. Oh. Who knows? So, for example, let's say I'm playing as Ogark. He's a ogre. He's a bouncer. The gameplay is very similar to D&D.
Okay.
It's like a traditional tabletop RPG meets party game.
All right.
So let's say I'm playing as Ogark. So I might say, you know what, I'm going to sue you for slandering me on your social media page because you've been saying some really nasty things about me, right? So that card gets replenished immediately. This gets discarded. And you might say, oh, actually, but I'm quitting social media because it's toxic and fake and I don't want to get sued. So that's another card completed, and then it gets replenished.
So I noticed these have these costs, or what are
yes,
these?
So these little numbers on the bottom left, bottom right, these are points. So that's how you earn points in the game. And the higher you score, the better your season's ratings are. Each game is played over 4 rounds or 4 episodes, and each episode is only 3 minutes. So it's a very short 12-minute game. Extremely fast paced.
3 minutes?
Yeah.
Do you use an egg timer, or is it?
Yes, so we have a little timer here, or you can use your phone. Yeah. So like for example, like episode 1 might be on a yacht, and then I don't know, you might go to the ocean, or you might go to a workshop for wannabe influencers, like all sorts of wacky, locations.
So what's this? How do you pick which cards you make? Can you just pick anything from the deck?
So the directions are laid out on the in front of you on the table, and they're public. So everyone, there's no turns. Everyone just kind of plays in real time. So in 3 minutes, you're trying to do as many of these directions as possible,
And
like
what's
rapid
to prevent
fire.
you from picking up all the high pointers?
So nothing is preventing you. So it's a collaborative game.
Oh, crap! Right. I'm looking at it. You're competing.
Yeah. So like nothing is stopping you from doing that. You're trying to earn as high of a score as possible. So you want to be going for the high points, but it needs to make sense within the story, right? Within the narrative. You can't just suddenly be like, oh, there was a murder, right? There has to be like a reason or like a why or a how.
So you have to keep building off what the people
exactly.
are looking for. Okay, so the first one made sense because you said, you're going to.
Yep.
All right, I got. So if I'm playing a card, I probably want to look at what's out there to see then what the next player.
Exactly.
Can pick.
You're playing with a lot of different people. Everyone has their own kind of idea or vision towards where the story is going. And I like to imagine it as like you're sitting around the campfire, right? And everyone's just kind of like tossing in a log of imagination, right? You're sharing this story together, like you're building this world together where everyone is just participating with their own characters and trying to.
So what are those?
So these cards are character traits.
Oh, okay.
So everyone is assigned a random character trait. So I might start off opinionated. I don't know, somehow become thoughtful. And then become hexed. I don't know. Yeah, so these are all random.
Very fitting because my channel's name is Hexed Press.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so you might.
Fates.
This might be. We'll start off opinionated, hexed, and then you get thoughtful.
Yeah, that's
a nice arc right there.
Yeah, I like it. So D&D plus card game. How did you make that? I mean, because there's lots of D&D card games, but not. At least I haven't seen it like this, merging it with a party game. What brought those together for you?
So honestly, the inspiration for this game was a show on Netflix called Terrace House. I don't know if you know what it is.
No, was it a
It's a reality TV show. Yeah, it's a Japanese reality TV show where a bunch of like normal people live together in a house, and then they just kind of film their monotonous life. But it's kind of very dramatic in like a low-key way.
I got you. So it's not like the kind of Big Brother. And
not like all sorts of fighting and like fist fights and like all sorts of like scandalous things happening. It's just very like who took my soda from the fridge type of scandals, right? So it's like low-key interesting to watch. So I love that show, and I wanted to make a game like based on it. And then obviously I can't use the characters or the likeness of them, right?
Sure.
I don't have the licensing, so I just.
Which it would have been pretty easy to make kind of the generic
Yeah.
person, but you went with D&D instead, or fantasy.
Yeah, so I
theme.
wanted to like mix it up a little bit, add a little bit of like flair, like a fantasy, like high fantasy type, characters. Like we have orcs, we have unicorns, dragons, and wizards, and all that. Yeah, I mean, a reality TV show in a fantasy world, that sounded like a pretty interesting
And in 12 minutes.
In 12 minutes, yes.
That's pretty sweet. So, what do you do with the scoring at the end? Does it really, I mean, because
Yeah,
I feel like
so-
in one way it doesn't really matter over much.
I mean, ultimately, it doesn't really matter.
It's the friends we make
exactly.
along the way.
The friends you make, yeah, the fun you have, the journey you had, the laughter you've shared. That's the real point of the game. But I'm a board game designer, so I want to have some way, have people like feeling like they accomplished something. So there's like a little rating system, like a ratings chart. If you've done 35 points or more, then
6 seasons, nice community. I like it.
Exactly, 6 seasons in a movie.
Have you thought about doing something similar? Because I feel like maybe an untapped market would be, well, one, there's all the solo gamers who are out there.
Yeah.
A lot of folks on my channel play solo
Yeah,
board
yeah.
games, and they're constantly in search of tools. But I also feel like a lot of times, so I was just talking recently about when you're playing a game I do a lot of old school games.
Sure.
Right? One of the things is unlike in 5th edition, right? You don't have a lot of backstory to go on. You're kind of just thrown in.
Yeah.
But sometimes that backstory gives good hooks for people, for that character. How do I play this guy so it's just not monotonous? But I feel like some of these things, like being able to pull out some, here's instant backstory. I was, past tense, but I was a witness or I committed a murder, and I'm opinionated and I'm whatever.
Yeah.
Did you think about that at all, or would just be an added bonus if you find the game on Kickstarter soon?
Yeah, so all of these characters have background information.
Damn.
Everything written on the back, like their race, their age, their occupation, their hobbies and stuff. But this is all suggested. You don't have to go with this. You can make up your own character. You could take these characters, plug it into your homebrew, whatever campaigns you're running. These are just characters at the end of the day, right? And then these are just settings, and these are just events. So you can run your own campaign if you don't like the timer system. If you want to create your own system, or you're role playing, you want to create a DM, create a campaign, whatever you want to do. It's a very flexible game. I kind of built it as almost like a skeleton, and then you can just add whatever meats to the skeleton that you want.
I feel like this would be great for if a couple of people, if you're playing in a game, not everybody shows up on time.
Yeah. There we go.
Whip out.
Yeah,
you can even play with your existing characters and just have this stuff.
There we
just
go.
Kind of fill in some.
I also built it for the non-tabletop RPG player base, especially me. I'm coming from a board game background, so it's very easy for a person who's not necessarily so used to RPGs and role-playing in general to jump in, because everything is provided for you. There's no one-shot, there's no campaign story you have to read, no homework you have to do, or setting up your character and everything. You just kind of lay out the cards and you play, and then in 12 minutes everyone had a good time and you're laughing. Ultimately, the goal is at the end of the game, if you can walk away with your group of friends with new inside jokes from the game, then that's a success.
That's awesome. And you can do it all in 12 minutes.
12 minutes, yeah.
So let me just make sure we get this. When is this coming to?
So I'm hoping for a February launch.
February launch, awesome.
Yeah.
And do you know about how much it'll be, or just setting pricing kind of thing?
Looking around the $30 range, but I'm not entirely sure yet.
Yeah, but it's a nice. I always like things that come in nice small. I'm in a Brooklyn apartment, so the more small boxes I can get.
Yeah, I live in Astoria, Queens, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that, small world.
I know exactly the pain. I have my Calyx is full. I need to take stuff out. It's every time I buy a new game, it's what do I replace it with?
I know, it's awful.
So this game is called Welcome to Sisyphus Corp. It's based on my own cutthroat corporate experiences. I used to work for a big company, and then I quit to make this game and go into game design.
Wow.
This is a 2 to 4 player competitive racing game. Everyone starts here at New Hire orientation. The goal is to visit the 3 corner offices, suck up to the bosses, and then make it back to your performance review. Are you familiar with Mario Kart?
Yeah.
It's basically Mario Kart, but corporate.
Right.
So what that means is you're placing down these cards, and the cards have these yellow sticky notes on the edges that show you where you can go.
I'm just going to put one of these, bring one of these in here so you can see it.
So the sticky notes show where you can go. So that means, let's say I'm here. These two cards are connected diagonally. I could go here. These are connected diagonally. I could go here, and so on and so forth.
I see.
And that's how I'm traversing the office. And the strategy of the game, or in Mario Kart, like the shells and the bananas, they come from these cards, Office Politics. So for example, this card right here is called Spread a Rumor. So what this does is it lets you rotate a card. So now I could rotate this like that. That means I can continue on forward.
And you block that
exactly.
poor guy.
Now the blue player is stuck because that connection is now broken. So a lot of take that, a lot of stepping on your coworkers to climb the corporate ladder, throwing blue shells in Mario Kart, just like the real corporate world, basically.
I like it. So what are these cards over here?
So these over here are player sheets. They like to help you understand what actions you can take in a turn. It's all symmetrical. Yeah. So thematically, you're working around the office. You're working projects. You're gaining company influence, and you're spending that company influence on office politics to further your career.
That's pretty slick.
Yeah.
And the board's going to keep changing. Right?
Exactly.
People
Yeah.
keep maneuvering.
Exactly. In the beginning, the board is empty except the four corners, and then you're placing down these cards, and the cards change how you're going to move throughout the office. Sometimes you're swapping cards. Sometimes you're moving cards, rotating cards.
And what are these numbers on?
Yeah. So the number is how much influence you gain when you land on that card.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you're landing on the card, you're working the project, you're gaining the influence, you're spending the influence on politics, and screwing over your coworkers.
Now, when you have a card like this with this arrow, so you can come down like this, but you can't go up?
So you cannot, they have to have an
they have to
exit
be both.
and, yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. So, and obviously sometimes you want to get that influence, so you might want to go out of your way to try to get that three-pointer.
Sometimes that might be the best way to move forward. Work on that sweet, juicy project.
Very, very cool. Oh yeah, there you go. Let me get this in here. Focus. All right. And when did this one come out?
So this one was kickstarted in 2021. Fully funded, fully available for sale. Right now I'm just trying to get rid of the last stock I have. I have about maybe 60 or so copies left. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for sharing
Of course.
both
Yeah,
of these
thank
games.
you.
And this is awesome. And you're local to me, so
Absolutely,
that is
yeah.
great.